You wake each day inside a body but live inside a mind you barely understand. You call it personality, preference, identity. But what if these are just layers? What if beneath the masks and moods and memories, something ancient breathes? A deep, primal intelligence that whispers secrets from forgotten ages? Carl Jung, the visionary who charted the depths of the human psyche, said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." He understood that we are not merely products of our conscious choices, but are profoundly influenced by unseen forces within us. These are the archetypes, universal patterns of experience and behavior, embedded in our collective unconscious, that shape our perceptions, our reactions, and our very destiny. You are not just living life. You are being lived by unseen parts of yourself, parts that carry the echoes of humanity's journey, parts that respond to the ancient calls of the soul. And tonight, we meet four of them. Not fleeting roles you play, but profound, enduring truths you carry within your very essence. They are fundamental psychic structures waiting to be recognized, understood, and integrated. Close your eyes, not in fear, but in invitation. An invitation to descend into the rich, fertile soil of your inner world. Inhale, feel the breath as it fills your lungs, a metaphor for the life force that animates these inner figures. There's someone waiting inside you, or perhaps many someones. Let's begin this journey of self-discovery. The mirror, the reflection of your unacknowledged self. The first is the mirror. You've seen this one not in polished glass, but in the piercing gaze of others, in the people who trigger you, the ones who seem too loud, too needy, too proud, too much, the ones whose very presence stirs a discordant note within your own being. But the mirror isn't truly them. It's an illusion. It's you reflected. A shimmering, sometimes distorted image of your unacknowledged self. The mirror archetype lives profoundly in projection. This is a psychological defense mechanism where you attribute your own unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or impulses to another person. It's a trick of the mind to avoid confronting what is uncomfortable within. You dislike in others what you secretly disown in yourself. It's not a moral failing, but a deeply ingrained pattern of self-protection. You call someone arrogant, perhaps because you've buried your own magnificent confidence, fearing judgment or rejection if you let it shine. You mock their drama, yet perhaps you are starving for a genuine, unfettered expression of your own emotional landscape, having suppressed it for so long. You fear their chaos because it stirs your repressed wildness, a raw, untamed part of yourself that you've diligently locked away, believing it to be dangerous or unacceptable. The mirror shows you precisely where you're split, where the conscious you has severed ties with parts of your authentic self, where your light was locked away, where your power was disowned. It's uncomfortable. It can be brutal even to witness these unvarnished reflections. But it's sacred, profoundly sacred, because only through the mirror can you begin the arduous yet ultimately liberating process of remembering your wholeness. It's a roadmap back to your authentic self, a guide to integrating the fragmented pieces of your soul. Ask yourself with radical honesty, who do I judge the most intensely? And then ask again with even deeper introspection. What part of me have I made unworthy through this judgment? What quality within myself am I refusing to acknowledge or embrace? If you recognize yourself predominantly in the mirror stage, Your immediate and vital work is this: don't fight the reflection. Don't recoil from it. Instead, study it. Approach it with curiosity, not condemnation. What irritates you educates you. Every sharp pang of annoyance, every surge of judgment is a classroom. It points directly to a lesson your soul needs to learn. And every time you soften toward what you see, every moment you choose understanding over condemnation, acceptance over rejection, both in others and yourself, you begin to reclaim what you lost. You knit together the torn fabric of your inner world. This is the first step on the path to individuation. The wanderer, the soul's unanchored quest for meaning. Next, there is the wanderer. This one drifts. Not always physically, though often they are drawn to new horizons, new cities, new experiences, but always perpetually on the inside. The wanderer questions everything, the very foundations of the world they inhabit, the systems they were born into, the beliefs they were taught, and most profoundly, the self they were told to be. They feel perpetually misplaced in crowds, even among loved ones. There's a subtle but persistent hum beneath their skin, an internal vibration that whispers, there must be more. But they can't name it, can't find it, can't quite grasp the elusive more that calls to them. And so they walk. They try new beliefs, adopting spiritual paths or philosophical frameworks only to find them wanting. They change cities, hoping a new environment will somehow trigger a sense of belonging. They chase experiences, believing that external novelty will fill an internal void. But nothing lands. Nothing quite settles. That's the unique, aching pain of the wanderer, everywhere and nowhere at once. A perpetual seeker always on the verge of discovery, yet never quite arriving. They are not lost in the common sense of being disoriented, but unanchored. Their roots haven't found purchase. They are not broken, but caught between selves. Between the self they were conditioned to be and the self they are yearning to become. Carl Jung called this the search for individuation, the arduous, lifelong process of becoming a whole, unique individual, distinct from the collective and from the unconscious influences that shape us. It's the longing to become who you truly are, beyond what you were taught to be, beyond the expectations of family, society, and culture. But that path is inherently lonely. It must be, because to truly find yourself, you must first bravely leave the one they told you to be. You must shed the layers of conditioning, the comfortable but confining narratives, and step into the unknown territory of your authentic self. If you are the wanderer, trust this deeply. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are becoming. Your restlessness is not a flaw. It is a sign of profound inner growth. It is the stirrings of your soul demanding a truer path. And the more you stop trying to belong to external structures, to fit into pre-designed molds, the closer you move to your truth. The less you try to conform, the more you align with the unique trajectory of your own soul. Repeat this until your soul hears it, until it resonates in every fiber of your being. I am not lost. I am in motion. Embrace the journey. The path itself is the destination. The wounded one, the crucible of pain and transmutation. Then yet, there is the wounded one. This one knows darkness intimately. They've walked through valleys of shadow that others only glimpse from afar. They've tasted grief with no name, a sorrow so profound it defies articulation, a pervasive ache that hums beneath the surface of their daily life. They've carried shame that didn't begin with them, inherited trauma, ancestral burdens, the unspoken pains of generations that ripple through their being. They often smile, not necessarily because they're genuinely happy, but because it's a learned coping mechanism, a protective shield. It's safer to present a facade of wellness than to expose the raw vulnerability within. They hold vast empathetic space for others, becoming the confidants and comforters for those in distress. Yet, paradoxically, they never quite feel held themselves. Their depth of understanding is often unmet, leaving them feeling isolated in their emotional landscape. The wounded one doesn't wear scars on their skin. They are made of them. Their very being is a tapestry woven from experiences of hurt, loss, and profound sensitivity. And the world often misunderstands them, dismisses their depth. "Why are you so sensitive?" is a common refrain, implying a weakness rather than a profound strength. "Why can't you just move on?" is another, revealing a fundamental ignorance of the complex, non-linear nature of healing. Because what the world forgets is that sensitivity is sight. It is a heightened perceptual ability, a way of feeling the subtle currents of life and truth that coarser senses miss. That the one who feels deeply sees deeply. They perceive the nuances, the hidden truths, the unspoken pains that others gloss over. This is not a burden, it is a gift, albeit a heavy one at times. This archetype holds trauma, yes, the raw, unintegrated wounds of the past, but it also holds the immense potential for transmutation. Jungian psychology often speaks of the wound as the source of healing, where the very place of pain becomes the catalyst for profound transformation. Because those who bravely descend into their pain, who dare to face the monsters of their unconscious, are the ones who return with medicine. They become the shamans, the healers, the wise ones who can guide others through the darkness because they have journeyed through it themselves. If you are the wounded one, hear this, and let it sink into the deepest chambers of your heart. Your brokenness is not your identity. It is not a permanent state of being. It is your initiation. It is the crucible in which your resilience is forged, your compassion deepened, and your true power revealed. Let yourself grieve. Allow the tears to flow, the sorrow to surface. Give it space, not to stay there, to wallow in it, but to rise clean. To release the stagnant energy, to purify the emotional body, and to emerge lighter, clearer, and more truly yourself. The shadow, your pain, your trauma, it will not kill you. It may feel overwhelming, but it is not inherently destructive. But denying it will, repressing it, pushing it down, pretending it doesn't exist, that is where the real danger lies. That is where it festers, consumes, and ultimately dictates your life from the unseen depths. Say this to the mirror the next time your tears scare you. The next time shame whispers that your feelings are too much. My pain is not weakness. It is proof that I survived. It is proof that I have lived, loved, and felt deeply. Embrace the exquisite sensitivity. It is the foundation of your wisdom. The alchemist, the master of inner transformation. And now we meet the alchemist. This is the one who has looked into the abyss, the darkest corners of their own being, the collective shadow of humanity, and stayed. They did not avert their gaze. They did not flee. Who has burned in the fires of suffering, of disillusionment, of profound loss, and chosen not to crumble into ash but to become light, to transform the very fuel of their suffering into illumination. The alchemist doesn't avoid darkness. They don't pretend it doesn't exist. They eat it, They metaphorically ingest the raw, unpalatable experiences of life. They transmute it. They possess the uncanny ability to convert lead into gold, not literally, but psychologically and spiritually. They take the base elements of pain, trauma, and shadow, and through conscious work, transform them into wisdom, compassion, and profound self-awareness. They use it. They recognize that darkness, like light, is a fundamental force, and when understood and integrated, it becomes a powerful tool for growth and creation. They know intimately what Jung meant when he said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." True illumination comes not from avoiding the shadow, but from integrating it. The alchemist doesn't ask, "Why me?" A question born of victimhood and despair. They ask with a quiet strength, "What now?" This is the question of agency, of power, of conscious choice. It is the question of the creator. They write poetry from heartbreak. They don't suppress the sorrow, they channel it into beauty and understanding. They birth art from ache. Their deepest wounds become the wellspring of their creativity, their unique contribution to the world. They turn shadows into stairways, every challenge, every obstacle, every encounter with their own darkness becomes a step leading them higher, deeper into self-mastery. You'll know an alchemist not by their perfection, for they are profoundly human and have faced immense struggles, but by their presence. There is a groundedness, a quiet authority, a luminous quality about them that comes from deep inner work. They've integrated what others run from. They've faced their demons, made peace with their past, and embraced the full spectrum of their human experience. And in doing so, they've become powerfully whole. Their power isn't about control over others, but mastery over self. But even the alchemist, in their profound wisdom, must remember a crucial truth. Transformation is not a finish line. It is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It's a rhythm, a cyclical process of death and rebirth, of descent and ascension. There will always be new layers to uncover, new shadows to integrate, new gold to forge. And their ultimate role is not simply to transcend, to rise above it all, but to return and teach, to share the wisdom gleaned from their arduous journeys, to light the path for others, to guide those still wandering in the dark. If this is you, if the resonance of the alchemist stirs something deep within your soul, say this in the silence of your being. I don't need to escape the dark. I need to understand it. Embrace the ongoing work. It is the journey of the truly living soul. Breathe. Let the energy of these 4 archetypes settle within you. Now tell me, which one are you? The mirror, showing you where you project your disowned self. The wanderer forever seeking, unanchored in the quest for deeper truth. The wounded one carrying the sacred burden of pain, destined for transmutation. The alchemist, the master of turning shadow into light, leading with integrated wisdom. Or all of them? Because that is the profound, beautiful truth of your being. You are not one fixed self. You're not a static entity defined by a single label. You are an unfolding, a dynamic, ever-evolving process of becoming. Some days you reflect, seeing your own fears and hopes in the faces of others. Some days you drift, propelled by an unseen longing for meaning. Some days you hurt, feeling the weight of the past and the vulnerability of the present. And some days you transmute, turning the raw material of life into wisdom and strength. This is not confusion. This is not a sign of instability. This is evolution. This is the very nature of the human psyche, constantly striving towards greater wholeness. You are not merely a personality, you are a process, a grand, intricate, sacred process of individuation. The goal is not to choose one archetype and cling to it. The goal is to witness all, without shame, without judgment, to recognize their presence within you, to walk with them, to honor their lessons, to learn from them, to extract the wisdom each archetype holds, to let each part have a voice, to acknowledge its existence but not the wheel, not to let any single archetype dictate your entire being, but rather to integrate their wisdom into a more balanced and conscious self. So that in time, you no longer live as fragments, pulled in conflicting directions by unconscious forces, but as a whole, a unified, conscious, authentic individual. And that wholeness, that is the freedom you've always craved. The deep, abiding sense of peace and true self-acceptance that comes from integrating all aspects of your being, light and shadow alike. Now, before you go, pause. Let the resonance of these words linger. Whisper to your younger self, the one who felt lost, confused, misunderstood, the one who didn't know any of this wisdom. You were never broken. You were becoming. And if this whisper reached your soul, if the resonance of these archetypes stirred a knowing within you, tell us in the comments, which archetype holds your name tonight? Which one spoke most powerfully to your current journey? And who do you know that desperately needs to hear this message? Who is struggling with unseen forces, yearning for understanding? Send it to them. Share this journey of introspection, because when one of us remembers, when one soul awakens to its inner landscape, we all rise a little, we collectively lift the veil, and the light of consciousness expands for all.